here's the thing, right? Mace he got $20,000 for his publishing from Diddy. Now, I don't know who was working with Mace at the time in terms of who was your business person. You know, who was your lawyer? Who was your accountant? Who was your business manager? Now, if it's someone that came out of Bad Boy Entertainment or someone connected to Diddy in some way, who was someone who was, obviously there was no one, right? All right. So he goes on to say that he will offer Diddy $2 million for the publishing, which Diddy only paid $20,000 for. Now that number is not an arbitrary number. Apparently that is the number for I guess whatever, has been amassed from the catalog. It's not an arbitrary number. He didn't just offer him $2 million for shits and giggles. We do know that. But I think that the bigger thing and the bigger debate for most people is, it's nasty to me that Diddy would be, that would give a speech like that, you know, and not be cognizant of the fact that there have been several artists that he's worked with that have, you know, so to speak, made a declaration of Diddy doing the same thing to them, right? The Locks, Black Rob, the list goes on of, you know what I mean? However, I think that the argument can be made that, number one, May should have had somebody who was in his corner. You know, no one expects any kid who has no idea of such things to know what is the right amount to charge for publishing, if any at all. Why not keep it, right? And let's be clear, not all of Mace's catalog is worth, you know what I mean? Okay? Harlem World, yes, right? So, okay, fine. But I guess one could also argue that when Mace signed to Bad Boy and signed with Diddy, what did he expect? You know what I mean? Like, you were still going on tours with Diddy. You were still doing things with Diddy, even after you knew that, like, y'all just did a tour not too long ago. And you was out here. And I know that you said that you did it so that you wouldn't look crazy. And yes, you have bills to pay and whatever. But, like, why not? I don't know, like, why have the conversation like this? That's number one, because I always hate for people to talk to people that they can talk to in person over social media. That's so gross. Like, don't talk, people, this is like sage wisdom. Don't talk to people that you can text and call. Don't talk to them. Don't talk at them via social media. Have a conversation. Pick up the phone. I'm sure you have Diddy's number. Pick up the phone and call him. Have a conversation. Now, I do think it's nasty that Diddy is still holding on to this. I think that he should pay Mace, or he should. Now, let's also put on the caveat that Mace, if the catalog is not sold to someone else or whatever the case is, that Mace will get the catalog when he turns 50 also. Or some percentage of the catalog. So that also makes me feel like, dude, why'd you pick up the bloodstained banner now? Now, who I do feel sorry for is Kelis. Now, Kelis also, I think she did an interview with someone and she spoke about her time in the industry and being robbed, in essence, by Pharrell, of her catalog. And she talks a little bit in depth. Now, here's the thing that was kind of weird. She also spoke in the same interview about her abuse, the abuse that allegedly occurred between her and Nas, and that she was inspired to leave Nas, and I'm sure you guys have heard this story before, but she was inspired to leave Nas when the incident had occurred between Rihanna and Chris Brown, and she saw images of Rihanna and felt like that could allegedly be her if she were to stay and still suffer the slings and arrows of an abusive relationship, right? So she got out. But she tied it into, it was all featured in the same story, which I thought was a little weird, but at any rate, so Pharrell, I guess, is holding on to Kelis's stuff. Now I've heard Milkshake in several commercials and several television shows, so I can understand why he would hold on to that. But I think it's ironic, and I think that, like, black hetero cisgendered men don't often understand what their balance of power does and how nasty it is for them to wield it like a sword. But then in the same sentence talk about unification and culture and the overall upliftment of our race. We won't have an overall upliftment of the race if you guys continue to wield your power the way that you do. And you wield it over us sexually. You wield it over us financially. You wield it over us creatively. I just don't know if you guys, some of you cisgendered hetero black men, I don't know if some of you guys are, like, getting it, you know? And this is not like an attack on all black men, because the fact of the matter is it's not just cisgendered hetero black men. It is also transgendered black men. It is just black men in general, regardless of makeup. You guys got to do better. You have to. You gotta do better. So last but not least, did you guys hear about the heiress of Disney, Abigail Disney? So she is the heiress of the Disney, fortune. I believe she is the great granddaughter or granddaughter of Walt Disney, whatever. She wrote, and I quote, "I haven't said anything about Kobe so far because I felt some time needed to pass before weighing in. But yes, it's time for the sledgehammer to come out. The man was a rapist. Deal with it." Okay. And that is Abigail Disney, for all of you guys who want to go and find her just to have a nice conversation with her. Now, I don't know what would prompt someone to say something like that. I mean, listen, I think that if we contextualize all right. And I just had this conversation with someone this week. I think it is very disgusting for us to summate anybody's life by the one bad thing that we know that they've done, you know? And I think that a lot of times what social media and what platforms have done, it's interesting because the news anchor, we don't get the news on him. You know what I mean? Like, when you're looking at the Shade Room and the Neighborhood Talk and Hollywood Unlocked and TMZ, and, you know, you are looking at news, and the great thing is that all of those people who are violating folks, whether it's Abigail Disney, who has a platform to be able to do so, or anybody else, any of the anchors that were kind of misappropriate in the delivering of the death of Kobe, also TMZ, what have you. We never get to hear about those people's news. The summation of their life will not be this one bad thing that they did, because Joe Public will never know. You know what I'm saying? So I think that it's really nasty for someone to summate somebody's life by the one bad thing that they did, knowing damn well that they'll never have to suffer the slings and arrows of the general public summating their life in that way, if that makes any sense whatsoever. You know what I mean? Like, I just think that kind of judgment is, like, really gross. It's gross. It's gross. And I think that it's gross for people to, you know, put the summation of anyone's life, regardless of who it is, by the misdeeds and the things that they did bad. especially when we don't get to hear your dirt. Like it feels like a cop out. Like it feels nasty. Yeah. All right, yo, let's go. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to take a deep breath and we're going to come back and we are going to set the table for getting ready. Come back. And we are back. So for all of you who are unfamiliar with this segment of the show, every week I try to bring a moment where we set the table and set intentions and, whether that is acceptance and gratitude or whatever it is, we just try to set our intentions on one particular thing for the rest of the week until God's mercies hope that we meet again next week. So this week we are setting the table for getting ready. Now, for a lot of you, I know you might feel like, well, getting ready for what? That's easy. What are we getting ready for? Now, I know you know what a palindrome is. So today is actually a palindrome, meaning it is 2-2-2020, 2-2-2020, the repetitive nature of the number. Now, the last time that this happened was on 1-1-1111, if that makes any sense. The other connection to this is that it is the 33rd day of the month, and we also have 333 days left for the year. Now, this year is a leap year. And with all of that said, I think that we need to just kind of brace ourselves down for everything that we've experienced so far this year. And then also get ready for the weeks that are to come, for the blessings that are going to be bestowed upon us, for the trials, for the mercy, for the grace. We just have to get ready. And how does one get ready for the rest of the year? Well, it's important that you set intentions, right? And we've gone through the whole idea of setting intentions before. To set your intention, first, you've got to be clear in your mind on what it is that you want and what you hope to accomplish from that goal, because it's more deeper than I just want to start a business. What is your intention for this business? What is your intention for the creative endeavor that you're getting in? What is your intention for this relationship that right now is strained? What's your intention? If your intention is to actually relate to this person, then you've got 333 days left to be able to do it, God willing. So once you set your intention in mind, you create a goal and you set an intention for that, it might behoove you to write that down. Write it down so you can hold yourself accountable. Get yourself an accountability partner. Someone who's not just going to tell you that everything that you're doing is right, but someone who's going to hold you to task to be responsible for the thing that you want to be accountable towards. Set a vision board, something that is going to remind you constantly, not of where you are, but where you want to go. Tell people, but be careful who you tell. Tell people who are aligned with you spiritually. So you may not be able to tell niggas in your family. You may not be able to tell your best friend. You may not be able to tell your wife. You may not be able to tell your boyfriend. But that's okay. There's got to be somebody out there. Hell, tell your therapist. Beyond just setting intentions and the steps that it takes to do it, getting ready also involves whatever trial and tribulation that is kind of stepping on your neck right now. One of the things that I've realized is that I am a person who will pray about the problem. Pray that the problem goes away. Pray that, maybe it doesn't hurt as much. Pray that, I realize that in my praying process, because never get it twisted. And it doesn't matter who you're praying to, because I'm not here to tell you to